Today we're not looking at a single card, but at an entire set. Hello Internet, welcome to the Pin Line. My name is Jesse. On this channel I look at the history of Magic the Gathering art, one card and one piece at a time. Today I'm not doing it one card at a time or one piece at a time. We're doing something different today. Last time we looked at Flair by Josu Tukker. You can check out the video on my channel. Please check it out. Like I said, today we're doing something different. We're going to look at the art direction of Secrets of Strixhaven. The set has been out for about 2 months now. We're already in the Marvel season at the moment. I'm not super interested in that one, but I'm still enjoying Secrets of Strixhaven. I'm doing a pre-release or a post-pre-release sealed pull on Friday. It's an interesting set in a lot of ways. And I thought, because there were a couple of artists that shared a lot of concept art, I thought, hey, let's dive into how this set came to be, sort of as a case study in how, you know, a Magic set is designed these days, and maybe compare it a bit to how it was done in the old days, to take a look at how it's built and how the world building is done, how the art direction is done. So yeah, let's dive in. I've prepped a full overview. What I've done is I took all the cards in the set and put them in the schools. There's 5 distinct schools in this set, 5 distinct guilds or schools, as you want to call them, and they have a very distinctive visual language, and that's why I thought it would be interesting to review and to go through and to see, you know, what are the good things about it and what are things that I might like less about it. Or I didn't include the mystical archives. It's a whole different bonus sheet as well, and it's very interesting to compare it with the mystical archives, I must say. There's a couple of artists that shared a lot of cool concept art for this set online. So one of them is fellow Dutchie Leon Tukker. I've reviewed his cards on this channel before. He's obviously also doing a lot of concept art for Secrets of Strixhaven, Vega and Josu Solano. So thanks to those guys and for sharing their work online, and so that we can take a look at it together today. So the central idea of this set is obviously there's 5 different schools. It's sort of the academic aesthetic. They all have their own distinctive style and their own distinctive look and look and feel, specifically around how their magic looks, how it performs, how it is portrayed. Yeah, obviously it's within a sort of world, a plane of magic, where there is a big college, and on this college mages get taught to do magic. What is interesting is that there is a key idea built, and out of that 5 different aesthetic languages were created. What's interesting to take a look at today is that, does that produce great art, or is it something that is limiting in a way, or maybe it's both in some cases. So let's dive into a bit of sort of general look and feel. So let's pick a school and let's dive into, you know, what each school is about. So first of all, I will start at the top. I think that makes most sense. So I'll start with the Silver Quill College here. This is obviously the white-black school, and one of the key things that is key visual motifs is sort of this painterly writing in the air. I think that's the key motif. The main idea here is this sort of ink style, ink painting letters in the sky, basically in black and white, and all kinds of shapes, right? You see portrayed by the artists in this set. So some create sort of more abstract shapes, or that feel a bit more like swooshes or swords in the air, whereas others choose more like, hey, we're drawing birds, or we're drawing protective spells, or that is the key motif here. And then the rest of it is all about these characters, and these characters also have this motif represented on their outfits, right? So you see this golden, white, black outfits, and I think that was really directed by the art directors to make sure that all these characters have the similar look and feel to them. And I think it's interesting once you put them on sort of on a stack here, and you start looking at all of them together, it becomes in a way sort of homogeneous in a way. So in older sets you would never see something like this, where the visual motif would sort of flow across everything very strictly in a way. I don't think I see a lot of difference here in, you know, how it is applied or how it's thought about by the artist. So they were all given a style guide probably to make sure that, hey, if you're going to draw these magic effects, then they need to sort of look like this, and take that into account, make sure that it fits the overarching idea here, and make sure that it adheres to these sort of rules that we set. So in a way, that limits the artist to create their work. On the other hand, limitations are sometimes very good for artists to make sure they do they create better work, because if you let them free, they can do everything they want. But on the other hand, it loses a bit of that autonomy for each artist to bring their own ideas and their own. Here's a bit of concept art for Silver Quill done by Jose Vega, and this is more about, okay, how does their college look like? What are the buildings looking like? So it's more around the architecture, I would say. I didn't find a lot of, character concept art or stuff like that. But here's a bit of, you get a bit of a feeling. And I think this is also brought into the mix to make sure that all these cards, once, if they portray sort of a school setting or a building setting, that they adhere to what has been designed in the concept. Here we have the Prismari school. Prismari is all around performing, so whether it's through music but mostly it's paint. So here we have the painterly style, very much like they are drawing with paint and with water most of the time, and the magic is paint, basically. It looks like paint, and they draw up all these sort of mystical creatures or effects, or waves crashing, or maybe even an elemental whale in the sky. So it's all about performing, right? Here you see a lute, and here you see a bird conjured. And one of the key criticisms I had on the Prismari end was that really everything starts to look a bit samey and starts to flow a bit together in a way. I think there's enough interesting visual elements here to take a look at. I think one of the key pieces of the Prismari school is this spectacular sky whale done by Serena Melian. That's really a standout piece, really beautiful art. And I also really enjoy this Judsi, Steward of Fate. I think that's an amazing piece. Tullio Brito is a new artist for Magic. He did this exhibition Tidecaller. Very interesting lighting and great crispy look and feel. I think that's really well done. But my main criticism is sometimes that, if you put these two together, they sort of look like something similar is happening. And in a way, it's very good because you can easily recognize that. Once you open the card, you see, hey, this is a Prismari card. Hey, this is a Silver Quill card. Very easily. Sometimes it's a bit more vague, right? And then they might fit into another color pair, or they are less defined within this specific school. Overall, it helps the game because the game designers thought, hey, let's make 5 schools, and then visually that those are also very connected. But it loses a bit of that individuality and that sort of autonomy of the artist and sort of the visual chaotic things that could happen that were happening in older sets. Here's some concept art by Leon Tukker. So he really explored, hey, how does this, flow work? How does paint work? Is it water? How is it, rising up? Here it's moving in sort of a blob-like structure. Here's the whale idea. Here's how tents might look like. So very flowing lights, an organic feeling. Sort of almost growing shapes that are flowing from the bottom to the top, flowing upwards. He also did some indoor scenes, and here I think it's interesting because here you sort of see a study room or someone like a dorm, and that's something that is interesting in a way that you don't really see that within the set. There's not a lot of scenes, I think, where you see that happening. But this is really helping artists to get into the mindset, to get into the feeling of, hey, what does this space look like? Where do these characters live? So here, this guy is probably in his dorm, and maybe Caroline, the artist of this piece, looked at this concept art and said, okay, yeah, this is sort of how a dorm would look like, with these with these flowing lines in the windows, these visual motifs. And then she really brought it to the next level, made it very coherent with the drapery and the overarching look and feel, very much applied that in her style. You see the combination of how concept artists and main set artists work, and the card art artists work together, and how it can strengthen each other and create a very good product design, I would say. Looking at Lorehold, and the storytelling here is all around spirits, and spirits is a main theme in the game design. That's one part of it. The other part of this school is around exploring sort of archaeology, exploring spaces and finding new knowledge. There's a couple of standout pieces here. So I think Erode is one of the interesting ones. It's a new artist for this set, Florian Harold. Yeah, very different style, but still, you see the sort of the characters, these sort of giant avatars, I believe they are, with multiple arms. There's a bit of overlap here, I think, with how the Silver Quill people do it. There's also a slightly overlap within these schools. I think that's, in one way, it's also very interesting because and smartly done, because obviously they are on the same college and they are aligned to them. Then we have the Witherbloom guys. They're all very black, purple and green. So they chose purple as a sort of additional supporting color here. So not everything is just black and green. Which is smart, I think, because it gives the artist ability to highlight certain things, and the purple, sort of the witchcrafty horror look. It is very coherent, but also a lot of the cards start flowing over into each other. There's not a lot of artists that break the visual motif. Their styling, right here you have Elliot Lang. He did two very beautiful looking cards here. Mind Roots and Wander Off, that are visually done in a certain specific style, and they stand out in that way. Another card that is interesting is this Glorious Decay, which is this still life done by Camille Alquier, if I say that correctly. Great still life, again, very lightly touching on the art direction, and she gave herself maybe a bit more freedom, or she got a bit more freedom to create something that is a bit more out there. You have this still life with a bit more color, right? The blues, the reds, but still there's this black, green, and also this purple element. So that's smart from her to include, and maybe that was guided by the art director as well. But then you immediately understand as well, this is part of the Witherbloom school. So there is a bit of autonomy, I think, in a lot of these cards, but obviously there's autonomy in the way things are drawn and in the styling, but you see that there's very much a lot of guidance has been done on the color and sort of the overarching look. Finally, we have the Quandrix. They are all about Quandrix school, all about mathematics. So they chose sort of this fractal motif, and you see these fractals in everything, in the creature design, the characters. Were sort of similar. They just wear the colors of the color pie, basically green and blue. But their magic is really this fractal looking things. Leon also did this card art. Here it's full on fractal design, basically. Very recognizable, but also very samey. And I think that's the choice they made. It's a product design system in a way. It's not about just creating this beautiful art, but it's also about how do we marry the game design with the artists. So the play designers, they build out this idea. Okay, we're going to go with these schools and these color pairs. This is how their mechanics will work. And then that needs to be translated into a brief for the art directors, for the concept artists. And then the artists really execute within that guidance that they have. The question sometimes is, at what point does the individual voice and the individual artistry of the illustrators and the artists enter this chain? And is that enough? And I think sometimes it could be better, but sometimes you just see that there's a lot of artists employed that just are very good at just creating a certain look, a certain character within a certain scene, and they follow the guidance very well, and that creates the coherence. And then they employ some artists within this set that are doing things a bit differently, and that they are sort of creating, sort of the cool additions or the cool cards that look a bit different, like Elliot Lang here, but maybe Serena Melian here, that have their own visual style that they apply within the confines. Oh yeah, here we have the mountain done by Florian Herold, but also are allowed or are able to bring in their own visual style, their own visual look, their own artistry into it, and are probably given a bit more freedom to step outside these boundaries a little bit more. And I think that's a deliberate choice to make sure that it's not, totally homogeneous and very samey looking across the board, but it's also visually interesting for the people and the players to find cards like, hey, these are standout cards, or these look a bit different, or hey, I want to collect that one specifically. What is interesting for the mystical archives, and that's maybe for another video, but that I think it might also be interesting to look at, is that, hey, once that school restraint is removed, but you get another restraint of, hey, this in-universe academic documentation, which is the mystical archive, right? It's the books that contain all these magical spells from the past, as it were, and you loosen the rules a bit. It's also interesting to see what happens there. So yeah, overarching my thoughts on this set, I think it's very well applied. I think you see, if you put everything together, that is very well thought out, distinct visual motifs for each of these colleges, distinct color, look and feel. I think it's probably a very hard job to do. You need to really make sure that everything is sort of separated in a nice way and stays separated. So I think there's a great job by the art direction team and the creative team to make sure that every school has its own visual motif, and you see that within the gameplay. You see it once you start playing, you get these cards into your hand and you start thinking, hey, oh, this is a Silver Quill card, this is a Prismari card. I think that's very smartly done and a great example or case study of great game design marrying art and sort of product design together. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Secrets of Strixhaven set. What do you think? Are you enjoying the art of this set? Do you have thoughts about it? What do you think works well? What do you think works less? I'm interested to hear. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my videos when they come out, please subscribe to the channel. I hope to see you next time. Having an amazing day. Cheers.